Alright, now I'm moving on to part 3 of sharing my music collection. Boy, I took a long time, and I don't really care if I take any longer. I'll take as long as it takes to share about all of my CDs and some of my thoughts and stuff. So I'm gonna enjoy this, because once I put these up, I don't know how long it'll be before I get to unpack them. So I use the first video to talk about my tapes, second video to talk about One Row. So let's see how far we go here. So here we have Bedrock and John Digweed. So I think I put that all together here. I got quite a bit of John Digweed in my collection, so why don't I go ahead and share that with you. Boom. Foundations, really neat stuff here. So I discovered him, John Digweed, let's see, I'd say around 2000. Thanks to my friend Chris Smith, he brought me some Sasha John Digweed. Then I went all out and I kept collecting. So some of this is kind of really nice, basic electronic sounding music. Now here's a little bit disco-y, kind of cheesy. And then there's, he was on Global Underground. Some of these are okay-ish. And it's the Los Angeles one. I think the Los Angeles one it had some pretty deep material on it. I thought it gets pretty cosmic listening to that one. So yeah, this is really, for me, this is something I discovered without my father, since I moved to Colorado. And as you see, I liked it quite a bit. Now you might imagine I'd have more albums by other artists, Renaissance, Transitions. This is a really nice series. So as you might imagine, I'm kind of impressed with what these people are doing. So let me go ahead and put these down quickly right here, and then I'm going to use these to kind of thumb through the rest here. So let's see here, we have download. So let's open up my download. So that's Kevin Key of Skinny Puppy. Now I really love it when he goes off onto his electronic side. One thing I'm going to say about him is I really have a lot of respect for Kevin for his authenticity and everything. He just does what he wants. And the only complaint I'll ever have is sometimes he just gets too goofy. Like, it just gets too weird and too loose at if anything. I can never say, Kevin Key has ever become too pretentious or something like that. Like I was saying about Delirium, it was kind of like, to me, that was like too cheesy, So that's the difference with, like, I kind of can't help but compare, because, Bill Lieb has been part of Skinny Puppy. So it's like, Kevin Key has never done anything that I think he's being cheesy. Einsters and Nuvoten. I didn't really spend a lot of time listening to these guys, but I have something in my collection so that I can. Electronic Eyes, another Richard Kirk. And I was saying earlier, is I really feel like I blame Richard Kirk and a couple other people from what we call industrial music for turning me on to techno or trance. So Brian Eno. Let's see what all I've got by Brian Eno in here. So this is something I learned about from my dad, and this is somebody who's been making music since like the 70s, so he's been very important to underground music and electronic music. And just goes to show, like this type of underground electronic music goes all the way back to the 70s, as long as they've had synthesizers and LSD. Trying to figure out what I've got here. More Brian Eno. So, thanks to my father for turning me on to Brian Eno. So different, a lot of ambient stuff in here, probably a lot more mellow. So then 808 State, before I left Key West, my last 2 years of high school, I started discovering stuff that's kind of from the same music scene as like New Order and stuff, but this isn't something I got from my dad. So just like the One Thing I Need by them. And then there's Electronic, a New Order side project. So that's kind of like, I was listening to that all at the same time. Bernard Sumner from New Order. Kind of cheesy. I mean, there's a few good tracks on it if you're a big New Order fan. Eon, they were kind of a cool little techno thing. I don't know what you call them, techno. Early 90s, Fluke was kind of part of the intelligent electronic. I think that Wax Trax was promoting a little bit of this. Edgar Frazee. It's like the heart of Tangerine Dream right there. Super important. Really good stuff. That's probably more ambient there. Cure, Frontline Assembly. Oh my god, so I got this whole Frontline Assembly thing to go through here. So Total Terror, As you might imagine, it's totally terrible, and that's why it's still in its plastic wrap. Somebody gave me that as a present, and I haven't even bothered to open it. So I've already owned that copy of it, so I already know. So I might get that out eventually. Oh yeah, early Frontline Assembly, I kind of think Bill Leeb was probably listening to, you know, like cosmic music, definitely inspired by industrial music, and he'll say so himself. It wasn't for Cabaret Voltaire, stuff like that, you know, there really wouldn't be a Frontline Assembly, so I appreciate that. That's kind of funny, you know, Bill Leeb's kind of in the same age group as a lot of these guys, you know, he's one of the, I call all this music boomer techno, is my little joke. These guys, a lot of people born in the 50s that are responsible for firing up this music scene, like underground electronic industrial. So he's inspired by listening to stuff like Cabaret Voltaire and Joy Division and Wire and stuff like that. And then, so he kind of says, hey, you know, if it wasn't for stuff like that, there wouldn't be a Frontline Assembly. So I really appreciate that. Seems like I'd mentioned in another video, it seems like Bill Leeb is the closest thing I could find to my father as far as being a music enthusiast goes and being proud of his big music collection. So I love what is going on with Bill Leeb. He's somebody I consider to be a music lover who's gone to the extent of actually making music as well, you know, so he's not just a collector, he's a music lover, and he makes music, and, you know, so he's more than a rock star. He's not just a rock star to me, he's a music lover and a great artist. So that's my opinion. That's as much as I got. I used to have a lot more. Anyways, now I got to try to put all that back. So anyways, I just might stop my video at the end of each segment and make it a little easier to upload these to YouTube. So we'll stop it right here. This is the end of part 3, and I'll talk to you at part 4 if you're still curious enough.